Ladies and gentlemen, now we move on to our technical session 4, another very interesting session on the role of BIMSTEC towards fostering educational cooperation. May I please request on stage Professor Gurmeet Singh, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Pondicherry University, Professor Virendra Kumar Tiwari, Director, IIT Kharagpur, Dr. Debojyoti Chando, Head, Department of Mass Communication and Videography, Rabindra Bharati University, Kolkata, Professor Meena Vaidya Malla, Advisor, Policy Research Institute, Government of Nepal, and Dr. Pianath Soikam, Assistant to the President for Organizational Communication and Public Engagement, Ubon Ratchathani University, and Chair of India Studies Group at Ubon Ratchathani University, Thailand. May I please request an ISCS official to felicitate our chair, please? May we please have a big round of applause? I request Professor Singh to please felicitate our speakers. Thank you, everyone. Now we begin with our technical session 4, Role of BIMSTEC towards Fostering Educational Cooperation. I request Professor Singh to chair the session.
Good afternoon, everybody. At the very onset, I'll compliment Institute of Social and Cultural Studies and Ministry of External Affairs for taking a lead in organizing this very important seminar, celebrating the 25th year, of course, and giving a chance to every country of this organization to share their thoughts and to take our movement further. So far, we have discussed many issues on digital connectivity, on climate change, on food security, on infrastructural connectivity. But then if you analyze, you will realize that education was one part which was somehow relegated to lower priority as the sports was. And education is very important, there is no doubt about it, if the area has to come up. And what we have noted in the past is that we all look forward to the Western side and the other countries for our cooperation. We have neglected our neighbors. And as our theology goes, that if our neighbors are happy, we'll all be very happy. You know about it. And therefore, I am of the view that a cooperation in the area of education sector is going to be a very key factor if we have to bring up the whole region of ours. Now, in this case, the last session that we had on people-to-people connectivity, many of the speakers had shared their thoughts, and they, in fact, overlapped into our educational session, wherein they talked about setting up of a BIMSTEC university, setting up of signing MOUs where faculty exchange, student exchange, joint projects, all those things were discussed. That would have been the domain of this, but then if you listen to our speakers, they have wonderful ideas about how best we can have educational cooperation. If you have looked at the national education policy that India has come up with, people feel very disturbed that what is it about? I thought I'll clarify that in 2 minutes by giving you 4 capsules. And that is what our neighboring countries, particularly from BIMSTEC, have also been following in the past. The first capsule is that the education should be imparted in mother tongue. So far, in many of our countries, we were neglecting this aspect. And now, this is being given due importance because we are of the view that if a child has to learn, one has to think in one's own spoken language, and then one would come up in the right way. This is what is being done in our BIMSTEC countries now. in a right way. The other important second capsule is this policy would teach learn to leave. This is where you can join any course, leave that, earn your living, come back anytime. There is no time limit for doing your courses, graduation, post-graduation. You can go out, come back, join anytime. This is the second most important part, and this is what needs to be looked into our BIMSTEC countries when we have to foster our cooperation in the best of ways. We have to give up that thought of if somebody is not done graduation in 4 years or 5 years, one is not good enough. One should be able to join back any time after earning enough living, given the kind of economic conditions that we have in this region. Therefore, we should be very liberal on this. The third important capsule of this is that this is going to give us a direction whereby we will say the education is going to be teach to transform. We shall teach, we'll run degrees, we'll run our courses, we'll run our skill-based courses, whereby after getting certain degree, one would be able to transform oneself for the benefit of the society. It is not that there is a medical doctor and when we tell him to measure the pulse or the temperature, one will start shivering that unless we have an equipment, one would not be able to do it. So that's what is required. And the last capsule, fourth capsule under this is that it is educate to empower. We educate people and we educate in a direction that one should say that I'm ready to work for the society. If that kind of a philosophy goes, you will find that our education system will be a far better one, which will be very well equipped to cater to the society. And our neighboring countries, BIMSTEC countries, we all have similar problems. And rather than looking at any other far-flung country, if we start cooperating amongst ourselves, I think we'll be best placed to sort out the problems. Because the kind of problems that we have, I suppose we will be the best judges to sort it out, and we are capable of that. I'll give you two small examples. In my own university, it's a lush green campus of 820 acres. We were doing rain harvesting, and the direction came that we have to dig some pits to save water. And at random, we did about 14 pits we did without calculating what kind of a depth is needed and what is the size. Result was that there was so much of water which was getting accumulated that it was going down the drain and it was being wasted. It was moving on to sea. Then I asked one of my earth science experts that why don't you calculate and tell us what exactly is needed? And believe me, the way they did this, it was such a wonderful work done that now we are doing this rain harvesting in the best of ways. This is one of the examples whereby we can sort out our own problems, and this is where we need to start cooperating amongst ourselves to reap the rich benefits of education fostering cooperation in this direction. One long time back I had seen somewhere, I was there way back in 81 in Switzerland, and we found, I overheard an economic professor and a carpenter from the United States, they were discussing word issues, economic issues. Now that carpenter told me that he was very fond of economics, but then somehow because of economic conditions he had to give up. After 10 years, he earned enough money and came back to this and did his economics. Now, I mean, at that time he was continuing his carpentry, but then he was very well aware that should be the power of education. This is what we are going to be doing now under our national education policy. Then one could leave anytime, one could join anytime and enrich one's own self. Last sentence, the key, I don't know, you'll hear our experts, panelists. The key to success in our BIMSTEC area, in my own personal opinion, is going to be sharing of resources. We may have joint project, we'll have everything as per what the direction has been given, but the key to success shall be sharing of resources. Every good library, if you look at, they'll end up paying about 15, 20 crores in a year towards journals, research magazines, and books and other resources. Equipments are very expensive. So why should every university be having everything? Why can't they share? One library can be shared by many universities. This is what is needed. Expensive equipment can be shared by all, rather than everybody maintaining every equipment in its own right. That is what is needed, and the kind of time we are going to be in for, one cannot say that one is going to sort out every research problem on one's own. A cooperation would be required. Many subjects will have to come together. And our own area will have specific problems which we alone, I am highlighting, we alone will be able to sort out when we will sit and discuss our own problems pertaining to this area of BIMSTEC, which will take us further by spending minimum amount of time, minimum amount of energy, and minimum amount of resources. So with this, I'll open this discussion to our friends, my fellow panelists. I shall start from the extreme right with Professor Virendra Kumar Tiwari, who is our esteemed panelist. Professor Tiwari has been from the IIT system, and he's been there for the last 45 years. He specializes in machinery system designs and other safety-related issues in electronics and computer applications. He's been on the board of many IITs. He's been on many selection committees and been a visitor nominee for many of the IITs and other institutes of importance. I will welcome Professor Virendra Tiwari here for his views on fostering education. Professor Tiwari.
Thank you, Professor Singh. I think it was very nice to hear the opening remarks that you have given. Before I say something, I think I would like to thank the organizers, Dr. Mukherjee, for roping in me to this particular BIMSTEC program, conference. Well, I have also come to learn from about these. We know about our neighbors. In fact, if you see the education and go back to our philosophers, our gurus, and our whomever you can think of, and I think of one person is that our Swamiji. Now he had told long back that it is the education which has important things like one should be intellectually strong, one should be physically strong, and then one should be spiritually strong. Now when you talk of spiritually strong, not only it means that you should be only talking of spirit or dharma or whatever. In fact, he meant something else. He meant the ethics. Ethics of education, ethics of value, ethics of understanding our camaraderie of people around us. And the very fact that the persons who need our help, I think we should be in a position to help them. So if I take the clue out of that word of spiritually strong, therefore we look for our neighbors. And we know that this policy by the government, particularly by the current Prime Minister into 2014, he's talked of the ACT East policy. And through that, I think we are in major areas in close cooperation with these countries who are around us, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan, I think Thailand. So I think all these countries, we have more cooperation and getting cooperation in various areas. If you see the relationship that we actually thought of, it should be all in several areas of culture. We should be talking of commerce, that is industry and trade, and we should be also talking of the connectivity, which I saw here, people-to-people connectivity with sports. It's one of the areas. Now here, education as well. Well, I think as higher education, particularly IIT Kharagpur, has been in touch with the neighboring countries, and I can tell you that for the last 25, 30 years, I would say, that we are in touch with the close by, and we have the students who are coming to us from Bangladesh, from Sri Lanka, and also from Nepal. I know some of my own students from Bangladesh and from Nepal who came here and learned many things from IIT Kharagpur, took degrees of MTech degree. Currently also I can tell you from Nepal we have association for last 18 years. Barring the 2 years of this COVID, I think we had in the agricultural engineering, the advanced course of about 4 weeks or so we have been giving to the final years of agriculture engineering students for the last, right from 2005 it started, only in 21, 22 or 20 also we missed, 20, 21 and 22 we missed because of the MOU that we could not hold at that time. And therefore, I can tell you that we are in close cooperation with these countries and we learn from each other. In fact, we know that there are possibilities where, as Singh Sahib has already said about the national education policy, which gives us various ways by which we can induct the people at various locations. Very recently, we have also got many of the countries from African countries, and we have African Asian Research Development Organization, from where we have got another 8 students who are doing Master of Science degree in various disciplines in the Institute of Technology at IIT Kharagpur. And therefore I can say that I was also there in Bangladesh about in 2012 for about 7 days, and we had a collaboration with regard to the water management as well as machinery transport and machinery relationship. We knew some of the professors from the university, Memon Singh, and then we had collaboration as well. We do have those collaborations continuing even now, many of our friends are having. And I can tell you that it is only if we share, we will grow and we will learn from the problem. I just again say what Singh Sahib was saying, that if you face a problem, I think we should find out the solution. Maybe the neighbor has a solution, or a friend who is close by could have a solution as well. Because if you think that you are only this person having a solution, I think we will lose. And therefore, in the context of education, I think there are a lot of vistas of opportunities available for all these neighboring countries where we can share with them, whether it is in the area of agriculture and environment, food nutrition. We are talking of energy in the areas where we do a lot of research in IIT Kharagpur. I think we can have students for exchange, maybe about internships that we are talking of in the various areas. We are also talking of the short courses that that can be tailor-made for some of the professors and some of the faculty members of these countries in given areas. For example, if they want to have in energy systems, if they want to have in mechanical systems, if they want to have AI and ML, I think this is possible. We have at IIT Kharagpur, we have opened a department of, in the Department of Computer Science and Technology, we have also opened a center of excellence in artificial intelligence and machine learning. We have projects from Government of India, from DST, and through that we are in a position to help the MSMEs. And I think we could be in a position to even cater to these people as short courses for the MSMEs as well, wherein they can create and they can understand the quality of a product, the reliability of a product, and understand and then produce those products in their locations along with our MSMEs. So therefore, I feel that there are many other opportunities where we can come and make cooperation. I think with this initial, maybe if I get opportunity, we will add up more. Thank you very much, sir.
I thought we are running short of time because 10 minutes were overspent in the last session. But Professor Tiwari has been a great help in that direction. He's finished his talk well before time. I would now request our second panelist, Dr. Devajyoti Chanda. Dr. Chanda has been head of the Department of Mass Communication and Videography at Rabindra Bharati University in Kolkata here. And he's been teaching in undergraduation and post-graduation classes since 2006. He's also served in Government of India as an officer of Indian Information Service and has guided many PhD students, and you can make out from his looks, the smarter looks that he gives, that he's been a news reader on Doordarshan for well over 15 years, and that a person with fair bit of acumen in that direction would be able to do that. He is a contributing columnist and he's been writing on international affairs in Press Express News Magazine and the Daily Messenger, both published from Dhaka in Bangladesh. He's an author of many academic books and research papers, and works on issues and practices in mass media and various perspectives of that. I will have the pleasure of inviting him to give his views.
Respected Chair, my distinguished fellow panelists, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon. I must first thank the Institute of Social and Cultural Studies and its director, Mr. Arindam Mukherjee, for inviting me here, and also the Ministry of External Affairs for organizing this wonderful conference. I represent Rabindra Bharat University, the university which is named after Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, and he has been the cultural and education ambassador for India for such a long time, and he had the opportunity to visit almost 4 of the BIMSTEC countries during his lifetime. The Bay of Bengal initiative for multi-sectoral and economic cooperation, BIMSTEC, as a regional grouping has completed 25 years, aiming to promote economic and technical cooperation, thereby consolidating regional integration, especially amongst the 7 member states, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Myanmar, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Thailand. Education has been one of the key areas where initiatives have been taken to foster cooperation, as it is essential to build a nation's economy, society, and culture. Education also plays an important role in promoting people-to-people cooperation and strengthening regional ties. Having recognized education as a key ingredient amongst the multifaceted cooperative endeavors within the BIMSTEC grouping, activities has been generated to, as we have discussed earlier, exchange of students and teachers, collaboration in curriculum development, R&D project, joint R&D projects, research in capacity building, establishment of centers of excellence, promotion of language learning, and digital-based education. India has been actively cooperating with BIMSTEC countries in various sectors, including education. Numerous scholarships have been granted and sanctioned by India to students from BIMSTEC member states to study and pursue academic collaborations in India. Under the Indian Technical and Economic Cooperation Program, India has been providing training to professionals from BIMSTEC member countries in various fields, including education. India has signed several memorandum of understanding to promote cooperation in higher education. These MOUs focus on academic exchanges, joint research, and joint degree programs. In addition, India has established the BIMSTEC network of academic and research institutions to promote cooperation among academic and research institutions in the member countries. This network aims to promote collaboration in research, faculty exchange, and student exchange programs. When we initially started working on this, we saw that education, like sports, was nowhere, as so mentioned, amongst the 14 priority areas. But however, of late, BIMSTEC has a working group on education that focuses on promoting education cooperation among member states. The main objectives of the WGE are to facilitate the exchange of information, experiences, and best practices in the field of education among member states, to promote collaboration among member states in the development of education policies and programs, to encourage the mobility of students and scholars within the region, to enhance the quality of education in the region through joint initiatives and projects. The WGE meets regularly to discuss education-related issues and to plan and coordinate activities. Some of the key initiatives of the WGEE include developing a framework for cooperation in education that includes joint research, curriculum development, and teacher training programs, facilitating the exchange of students and scholars among member states, promoting vocational education, as Sir was mentioning, and training to enhance the skills of the workforce in the region, encouraging the use of information and communication technologies in education. Overall, the WGE is an important platform for promoting education cooperation and enhancing the quality of education in the BIMSTEC region. In order to address these concerns, aims, and desired objectives set forth by the WGE, India has taken commendable measures, most notably the MOUs and the MOAs, the Memorandum of Association. Some examples of MOUs between Indian universities and universities in BIMSTEC states to facilitate academic collaboration exchange of students and faculty members are MOU between Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, and University of Yangon, Myanmar, MOU between Indian Institute of Technology, Guwahati, and Yangon Technological University, Myanmar. The MOU focuses on joint research projects in areas of engineering and technology. MOU between University of Calcutta and the University of Yangon in Myanmar, and the Union Cabinet has approved a Memorandum of Associations by India for the establishment of the BIMSTEC Technology Transfer Center in Colombo very recently. MOU between Jadavpur University, India, and University of Dhaka, Bangladesh. This MOU focuses in joint research projects in areas of science, engineering, and humanities. Very recently, we have been focusing in our Northeast, the MOU between Assam University, Silchar in India, and the Royal University of Bhutan. This is very, very important. Most recently, Nalanda University launched the Center for Bay of Bengal Studies with the vision of making it a leading interdisciplinary research center engaged in teaching and evidence-based public policy research on diverse subjects of the Bay. CBS will offer collaborations in a wide range of areas such as geoeconomics, geopolitics, ecology, trade and connectivity, maritime security, maritime law, cultural exchange, and the blue economy. Furthermore, the Government of India has announced the establishment of 30 scholarships, 24 for masters and 6 for doctoral programs at Nalanda University for students from BIMSTEC countries in the School of Historical Studies, School of Buddhist Studies and Comparative Religions, School of Ecology and Environment Studies, and the Bay of Bengal Study Center. Overall, the MOUs between Indian universities and universities of BIMSTEC countries aim to promote academic research collaboration. A key component of cooperation in the technology subsector, which is, I'm bringing it broadly under education, is the establishment of the BIMSTEC Technology Transfer Facility, TTF. The TTF is envisaged to facilitate the transfer of technologies among the BIMSTEC member countries, inter alia, in the following priority areas. It's a big list, then the list includes mostly high-end technology. Furthermore, Northeastern Space Application Center is recognized by the Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India, and ISRO to conduct training and capacity building programs in BIMSTEC countries. Very recently, India and Bhutan is jointly working on a satellite project, and the Foreign Minister of Bhutan visited ISRO facilities to promote this particular area. In the field of agriculture, the second BIMSTEC Agriculture Ministerial Meeting adopted the action plan for strengthening BIMSTEC agricultural cooperation. The meeting in which we, in the education area, this is important because BIMSTEC member countries appreciated India's efforts to strengthen cooperation in agricultural research and development and for awarding 6 scholarships each for postgraduate and PhD programs in agriculture. One of the key initiatives in this regard is the establishment of the BIMSTEC Center for Traditional Medicine in India, which aims to promote the use of traditional systems of medicine among member countries. India has set up the Traditional Knowledge Digital Library database in order to digitize the traditional medicine knowledge practices. So far, TKDL has digitized about 3 lakh medicines knowledge and which prevent a number of biopiracies and misappropriation. Very recently, a workshop on value chain analysis was conducted focusing on the BIMSTEC member states. The workshop targeted applied researchers and analytics in academics, think tank institutions, and trade-related government agencies of the BIMSTEC region. India has been one of the leaders in the digital technology area and digital software. BIMSTEC Information and Communication Technology Framework Agreement, India was one of the signatories in this BIMSTEC ICT Framework Agreement, which was signed in 2018. This agreement aims to enhance cooperation in the field of ICT among the number of BIMSTEC countries. Another very important area is the BIMSTEC telemedicine network. India has proposed the establishment of a BIMSTEC telemedicine network which would enable member countries to share medical expertise and provide healthcare services to people in remote areas using telecommunication technology. Digital connectivity, I would end. India has been actively working towards enhancing digital connectivity among the member countries of BIMSTEC. In this regard, India has proposed the establishment of the BIMSTEC Information Highway and a BIMSTEC Coastal Shipping Agreement. In conclusion, India is one of the oldest knowledge societies, had maintained academic and cultural links with the BIMSTEC nations since ancient times. Soft power can play a pivotal role in further development of India's relation with the BIMSTEC countries, and educational diplomacy is considered a potent tool of execution of India's soft power. This has well been recognized by India's policy framers, as education plays a significant role in the expansion of national influence beyond its borders. The establishment of the South Asian University in 2010 in New Delhi, as suggested by India in the 13th SAARC summit, has played a key role in fostering regional integration, people-to-people contact, and intellectual exchange between researchers and academia. This SAARC experience has led India to make similar measures in respect of BIMSTEC. The BIMSTEC Secretariat in Dhaka is expected to play a more proactive and pivotal role to facilitate academic exchange and educational cooperation between the BIMSTEC countries. My focus was on what BIMSTEC is doing actually. But to be honest, India has had very close educational cooperation with the contiguous states, with Bangladesh, with Nepal, Bhutan, and Sri Lanka since independence. In 2018, when the Honorable Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, first let me, to all my Bangladeshi friends, a very happy National Day and Independence Day who are present here. When Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina visited Kolkata, she visited Vishwabharati Shantiniketan, and also she visited Rabindra Bharati University. And she was awarded honorary D.Litt by Qazi Nazrul University in Asansol. We have a whole lot of scholarships being given to the Bangladeshi students because of commonality in language, food, etc. In my university, in Rabindra Bharati University, we host the highest number of ICCR scholars that are in the country. We are a cultural university, and a large number of Bangladeshi students are coming. Ayush, Commonwealth, SAARC, Mekong Ganga scholarships, under a number of schemes, our students are coming from our neighboring countries. We would be surprised to know that Bhutan, there are more than 4,500 students at the undergraduate level studying in Indian universities across the country. With Sri Lanka, we are offering more than 710 scholarships. We have the new Colombo plan in action, and India is laying stress on short and medium-term courses for skill upgradation programs for our students. We have our Thai and Nepalese friends here in the panel, and I won't go into that. What is very important at this stage is that what I felt, I've just returned from Bangladesh. I went to the University of Rajshahi just a week ago. The BIMSTEC Secretariat should facilitate exchange of academia, and it would be very good, as my friend Dr. Reza from Dhaka University we were discussing that why can't he come down to my university and teach for a semester, and why can't I go to his university and teach for a semester? Things must loosen up. I think we have very formal arrangements. MOUs and memorandum of understandings are good, but at the ground level, we need to execute plans where such a visit, I think in the last a question came up, visa regulations and all that. These things should be, at least we can have some special arrangements where academia can go from one country to another country freely. At the memorandums are nice, but when we try to execute that, it sometimes becomes a bit difficult. I would request the BIMSTEC Secretariat to look into this area. For now, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Devajyoti Chanda, for supplementing the views that we had expressed in the beginning, that key to the success is going to be sharing. And you have rightly said, the setting up of joint projects, exchange of students, exchange of faculty will go a long way in fostering education cooperation. Wonderful views. Thank you very much. I will now invite Professor Meena Vaidya-Mala, the only lady speaker in our sessions. We are honored to have you, madam. Professor Meena Mala is a professor of political science. She was the former head of the Central Department of Political Science at Tribhuvan University in Nepal. She specializes in national security, democracy and international relations, conflict and gender development. She has authored a number of books, number of papers, and she has been now building political culture of Nepal. A book she has authored recently, which is published from Adroit Publications, New Delhi. She is a member of several Senate and Executive Council member in many universities, and she's serving as an advisor of Policy Research Institute, a think tank which is of government of Nepal, and she's a member of academic subcommittee of infrastructure development and National Defense University, Nepal. I would now extend a welcome and invite her to share her views with the audience. Please, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your special remarks. Chair of the session, Mr. Arindam Mukherjee, Director, ISCS India, the fellow speakers on the dais, and all the prominent participants. Namaste and very good afternoon. First of all, may I extend my gracious congratulations to ISCS and the entire team for organizing a very productive and a significant conference in association with the Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India, along with a number of development organizations. May I thank the organizers for inviting and making me the part of your gracious program as one of the speakers on this event on 25 years of driving force behind neighborhood cooperation. And it's also my honor to have been asked to share knowledge on role of education towards fostering educational cooperation. Since I am from academia, this is my dear subject. This is the area of my concern and interest as well. When we talk on role of WIMSTEC towards fostering educational cooperation, we basically discuss the education component of education. We know education has historically provided essential links of connectivity between and among the community of nations regionally and globally. And most basically, South Asia and the Southeast countries in particular, they have history of cooperation and interactions with regional experts in diverse areas of knowledge in education and technology since long and long. So it's the time to foster educational cooperation and opportunities to strengthen links and ties with WIMSTEC partners, 5 of whom are in South Asia and 2 from South Asian region. We know WIMSTEC not only connects South and Southeast Asia, but also connects the ecologies of the Great Himalayas and the Bay of Bengal. That is how it connects high mountains with deep seas, reinforcing the ecological interdependence. WIMSTEC represents also a common identity that is rooted in our civilization heritage, cultures, histories, in our ways of life, and destinies. This is the identity we know is being shaped by our Eastern philosophy, that is awareness of unity in diversity and interdependence. While progress has been made in so many areas, especially in 14 areas of concern, to which all member states, they have considerably contributed. Still, there are plenty of possibilities and probabilities, we know, to be explored. So our group together has a very promising potential with plenty of opportunities, with plenty of natural resources, with dynamic and very hard-working people as well. Moreover, we have been blessed, the region is being blessed by the wisdom, by knowledge, and the uniqueness of our predecessors. So we come to know what are the benefits of educational cooperation to be fostered. Region as a whole should come up, I think, proactively in helping WIMSTEC address the potentialities to make it a more dynamic regional group. One of the potential areas would be, that's why, towards fostering educational cooperation. In that sense, WIMSTEC can be a more viable regional forum for sharing knowledge, the expertise, and the best practices in the education sector. Such educational links will not only contribute to sustainable development in the region, but also facilitate regional agendas, enabling WIMSTEC to effectively go ahead. We know educated people, they are the valuable asset of any nation, which forms the base for the entire development. It empowers, it enlightens, and it enriches individuals with knowledge and intelligence to uphold the rights and duties with responsibilities. WIMSTEC is conceived as a regional sharing and a learning among members of the group for which education cooperation remains the end product. So educational cooperation, so far we know, has always a transformative role that brings people-to-people contact. And on that area, much is talked about in the previous sessions as well. Fostering educational cooperation within the WIMSTEC can play a transformative role in enhancing people-to-people contact, closer, and a more constructive regional links. We know we have several institutions scattered over the countries of South and Southeast Asia in various disciplines like development studies, like technology, information, energy, power, hydropower, and many other specialized fields of knowledge. BIMSTEC can bring all the experts from all those areas together and work collectively for mutual benefit. In the same way, the joint studies and the research network can be conducted in these institutions on rising problems of common concerns like ecology, climate change followed up by climate crisis, the trade, agriculture, food, security, energy, public health, disaster management, and at the same time, it can explore possibility of establishing appropriate BIMSTEC forums for organizations, for parliamentarians, for the organizers, the universities, the academia, and the research institutes, the cultural organizations, and the women and the media community to expand the scope of people-to-people contact with proper policies and the proper strategies that really connect the people of the region. So educational cooperation always enhances public diplomacy. As I'm a student from political science, I should rather talk on public diplomacy, how education fosters public diplomacy. This diplomatic practice, it is now boosting and reshaping the international relations. Direct relations with foreign publics through education, information, social welfare activities, they all aim to influence the foreign government and their citizens. Information, education, and culture, they are always the major tools of public diplomacy. So the targeted audiences include the government officials, the academia, think tanks, business leaders, journalists, who cultivate relationship with foreign publics. In the same way, scholarships to students, exchange visits of universities, research centers, and research collaborations can be major BIMSTEC activities through which public diplomacy can be enhanced and promoted in the region. Now, the soft power projection in diplomacy is also made possible through education. The expansion of educational opportunities will enable the region to use soft power diplomacy, that is, to strengthen its links with BIMSTEC partners. It lets people act through cooperation rather than by coercion and oppression. Soft power always holds on education along with attraction and persuasion. Since education is an emerging tool for promoting public diplomacy, it acts as one of the effective ways to promote soft power public diplomacy. International education not only fulfills the personal needs like professional development, but also links with national security and policy objectives. So educational exchange can be enhanced as the major component of soft power projection in diplomacy that makes the region and the globe more vibrant, resilient, dynamic, and of course human as no other forms of communication can. This is where the concept we do talk of global village and global citizen reflects. It is this component that makes international relations more responsive in fulfilling their responsibilities in good faith and ensures that the principle of sovereign equality, social justice, mutual respect for each other, the right to self-determination, human rights, human security, the sentiment of the people of the 21st century are upheld. They are really needed not only for the region, but for a peaceful and a prosperous world as a whole. So attraction, goodwill, winning minds and hearts of the people, their credibility and the faith, they are really the powers generated by soft power sources. Soft power generates the ground reality that your suffering is my suffering and your well-being is my well-being. As our chair also pronounced, if neighbors are happy, then only we can be happy. It should be the fundamental principle of regional and international relations. Now, the nature of relationship among soft power, public diplomacy, and people-to-people contact, they are very complementary. That is, I want to say they have a very good trilateral relationship. They reinforce each other. While effective public diplomacy enhances the soft power of a country, soft power projection in diplomacy enhances people-to-people to achieve the goal of prosperity and happiness. And this is made possible and probable through educational cooperation. We see some initiations are already underway within WIMSTEC. The second WIMSTEC summit decided to form networks of policy think tank. It has been established as a track to WIMSTEC initiative in order to foster cooperation and interactions among the member states. It consists of 7 leading policy think tanks, one from each member states nominated by the respective governments. The 4th meeting of this think tank was organized in 2018 in Bhutan. The meeting discussed on the priorities of the member states for think tank and its institutional development. The recommendations of the 2nd think tank meeting held in Dhaka to establish WIMSTEC Eminent Person Group has been endorsed by the 17th senior officials meeting held in Kathmandu in February 2017. Accordingly, the terms of reference on Eminent Persons Group is under considerations of member states. But the problem is they need to speed up rapidly. Everywhere, this has been the problem. The education part, implementation part, is always weak, feeble, and poor. Now, a viable and effective mechanism is to be developed for educational cooperation within the BIMSTEC nations within a regional framework. It has to work further to make the environment agreeable for educational exchange programs so that the foreign students, the faculty, authorities can study and work in educational institutions, in universities, and research centers together. Now, coming to the next part, what may be the trends and the mechanisms to foster educational cooperation and explore the unfulfilled potentials of such collective venture? I have come up with certain suggestions we can go through. First of all, BIMSTEC can be a more viable regional forum for sharing knowledge, expertise, and the best practices in the education sector. It can start a new initiative for education cooperation within the region, drawing lessons from the education relationships that already exist within the group. For that, each country should have a center of South Asia and Southeast Asian training and a research center. Next, we need to proceed with WIMSTEC Foundations, Documentation Center, WIMSTEC Solidarity Forums, and WIMSTEC University that has also come up in the previous session, the fellowship and the scholarship exchange programs so that students can be exposed to regional issues and promote interactions with regional experts in diverse fields of knowledge and disciplines. This is, of course, very important for regional integrations and solidarity. We can also share our experience, stories of achievement from each other. That is quite a very necessary part. Mutual understanding, cooperation, and the exchange between the countries, sharing knowledge on successful experience story of achievements, the intellectual activities, and the level of development, culture, politics, and society creates a very congenial learning atmosphere from each other within the region. cooperation, and a learning environment that is why are needed to be extended in this area. So, working together for the future generation, that is very important. If we are fostering educational cooperation, it means we are working together for the future generation. Since BIMSTEC is a center of knowledge, wisdom, and innovation for our ancestors, we need to nourish the creativity, to spur the innovations, and to impart skills to them for the future generations. And it was stated in the inaugural sessions of the 4th BIMSTEC Summit that was held in 2018 in Kathmandu. For that, we make every effort to best utilize the energy of our youths. They are the most valuable asset of the region, we have to understand. We know South Asian literacy rate comes around 74 to 75% only. So we need to invest more on education, and we need to invest more so on female education. That is the most essential component of human development. We must ensure that in accelerating educational cooperation in the region, no one is left behind. Investment on them in terms of education, creativity, and innovation befitting the rapid technological changes is finally the investment on prosperous future region. Education empowers, and empowerment brings up the voice of the voiceless people, mainly representing from the marginalized and underprivileged sections of society. And with regard to women's and girl child education, I will be sharing few lines from my academic perspective. In most of the surveys, if parents are asked, why didn't you send your girl child to school? The most often and repeated answer would be coming from the parents that they go to another house and investing on their education is a no-return investment. That is very disappointing, and this is not the case only in Nepal. This is mostly the case in most of the BIMSTEC nations, that we have to come up from such conservative mindset. Now, collective research centers, we can go with. The region remains hindered, we know, in unacceptable levels of poverty, the human deprivations, population pressure, and rising ethnic conflicts, environmental degradations. At the same time, we are facing from natural calamities like landslides and floods, the frequent earthquakes, climate crisis, and the pandemics. They have caused a huge loss for all of us. Although there is an immense prospect for growth in the region, the countries have yet to seriously exploit the potentials inherent in regional cooperation for mitigating these sufferings. We have a greater responsibility to liberate people from poverty, ignorance, deprivations, and gender discrimination. To face these man-made and natural threats, we need to prepare, we need to work, and we need to invest more in information, technology, education, and research. Regional educational cooperation in that way provides a logical and a more rational response to these problems. For that, joint study and research can be conducted on problems of common concerns. Each country could prepare a list of experts in various fields, and people in that list could be invited for visits and exchanges on a regular basis. With effective educational cooperation in the region, with the greater involvement of the experts, the think tanks, and the researchers, they can come together to make a maximum use of their expertise, skills, and capacities, and enhance their collective self-reliance to overcome all those challenges for the benefit of mankind. We know BIMSTEC is yet to overcome from all of its constraints, and I need not explain what are those constraints. probably the political instabilities, the growing superpower interest in the region, and the security deficits, they are impeding the WIMSTEC from going ahead. But with all the serious joint efforts and the collective endeavors from the countries, WIMSTEC countries, we can play a larger role in promoting peace, prosperity, and the sustainable development in the region. For that, what are necessary? For that, the political will should be coming up. The extent of cooperation always depends totally on the political will of our leaders. They are the representatives of the people. That's why they have a greater responsibility to their own population and to the people of the region as a whole. Political will is the power to mobilize the people and stimulate the energy towards a shared purpose. It is a power of collective endeavor to overcome all the hindrances on the way of achieving the shared benefit. A strong political will from the regional political leaders with knowledge, with proper policies and the institutions and the resources, all can ensure the success of BIMSTEC towards the destinations. I have gone with a book, Why Do Nations Fail? One of the scholars, he has written that nations are poor and poor nations are poorer, not because of their geography and the culture, but because the leaders, they do not know which policy enlighten and enrich the citizen. Now, political commitment is equally important to address the development needs of countries and people. It is important for time-bound implementations of the instruments that are already signed. So with renewed political commitment, WIMSTEC can play a more effective role. Now, way ahead, 1 minute just, sir. This conference has been very fruitful to bring together all the academics, strategic, policymakers, stakeholders from all WIMSTEC countries to assess the success that WIMSTEC has contributed, beside the challenges that it faces, and to explore and work on new potentials. We hope active collaborations, mutual assistance, and partnership always accelerate support for each other in the fields of educational cooperation. So educational cooperation should be going ahead as an approved area. It should be coming up as a golden thread of knowledge and wisdom for regional collectivity and regional integrations. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Malavedya, for your very enlightening views. She has given views for cooperation in all areas, particularly diplomacy and women empowerment. Thank you so very much. Now I shall have the pleasure of inviting Dr. Peanath Soikam from Thailand. Dr. Peanath is an assistant to the President for Organizational Communication and Public Engagement and an assistant professor in politics and international relations at Ubon Ratchathani University at Thailand. He received a doctoral degree from the St. Andrews University, UK, and he obtained a master's degree in political science from Osmania University, India. That's the connection he has with our country. He's been on many trips to other places where fostering of cooperation is needed, particularly India-Southeast Asia relations, regional cooperation, and software power cooperation. He founded and currently is a chairperson of India Studies Group at Ubon Ratchathani University in Thailand, which aims at being India wisdom of the Mekong region. I have a great pleasure inviting Professor Dr. Peanath to share his views with us. It's all yours. Thank you.
Professor Respected Chair, Professor Singh, session speaker, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure and humble honor to be invited in this intellectual and fruitful conference to commemorate 25 years of this dynamic BIMSTEC. Thank you once again, Institute of Social and Cultural Study and Ministry of External Affairs for giving me this opportunity. So my talk today will be focusing on educational cooperation. But my key agreement here is that when coming to education cooperation, it's not just only research and higher education, but we need to work more on basic education or primary education like school. Therefore, in this talk, I divide my talk into 3 parts. The first part, I'm going to give like the theoretical and present framework. And the second part, I'm going to talk about the way forward. And the third part, I'm giving some examples that we have been conducting the kind of educational cooperation. Let me start with the first part of my talk. I'm going to talk about the theoretical and present framework. Yes, education is important. But the importance of education is not just only education can help uplift the quality of life of the people, but it's important because it helps intercommunication between people from different backgrounds, from different countries, and from different culture. To be precise, it's straight-free for people to find a common ground from different backgrounds in education so that they can share similarly knowledge base. And there are some principal reasons that's why education become one of the key sectors of cooperation in BIMSTEC and the topic that we are discussing in this session. Following BIMSTEC, there are also an objective of BIMSTEC that to provide assistance to member states in the form of training and research facilities in educational, professional, and technical sphere. Rather than the existing bilateral ties, BIMSTEC has to work in a multidisciplinary platform for multilateral educational cooperation where its members could share their experience and their expertise. So the current mechanism and scholarship, I think all the previous speaker has been mentioned. I just want to brief up that right now, BIMSTEC, the current, at present, there are also the BIMSTEC network of policy think tank where the higher education and policy makers are meeting together. And this coming May, I think this BIMSTEC network of policy think tank will meet again. And also there are the establishment of the BIMSTEC technology transfer facility and BIMSTEC task force on traditional medicine. Moreover, BIMSTEC also working hard on human resource development plan. So there are also MOU and there are also some program following that. Although the existing educational collaboration have incrementally been working, but the role of education in multidisciplinary and multi-levels could further strengthen of the function of BIMSTEC. So let me go to the second part of my talk. For the way forward to enhancing BIMSTEC, I suggest that it's significant to expand key actors, key stakeholders, and focusing more on BIMSTEC area of cooperation. So my recommendation could be divided into 2 parts. The first part, yes, higher education, it's important. For higher education, there also could be in 2 directions. For research and excellent study, BIMSTEC must identify key area and discipline for educational cooperation. So we not study, so we not research in everything, but exclusively choose the area that will help underlie the current sector of BIMSTEC cooperation. So it is important to note here that the educational cooperation among BIMSTEC nations has to align with the subject in sector of BIMSTEC education, BIMSTEC cooperation. So we have 7 areas. We have trade, we have environment, we have agriculture, we have people-to-people connectivity, we have science, and we have also the connectivity. So this is the first area that I want the educational cooperation to underlie or to be with the sector of the current BIMSTEC area of cooperation. To be precise, all topics that we are discussed in the past 2 days, all university and all research institutions could deepen and enhance in-depth study so that all the results and all findings can be a part of policy recommendation to strengthen BIMSTEC. For the second, for higher education, yes, we have the research, we have the student or faculty exchange program. But what about we create awareness? What about we having a curriculum in all BIMSTEC nation? What about our undergrad student having a module on BIMSTEC so that when they study in the university, they know about what's BIMSTEC, the function, and the history and the area of cooperation. That's my second recommendation for higher education. For basic education, as per the basic education could provide a new room for educational cooperation, my agreement is that BIMSTEC should not limit only higher education or research institution. Why not including and investing with young generation and cultivating the future? It's important for BIMSTEC to engage more actors, especially from the primary and secondary educational level. This can be both via activity to promote understanding and also to include BIMSTEC on school curriculum. I just take the case of ASEAN. During the maybe like 10 to 15 years, every school in Thailand, we have to learn about ASEAN. Even the university level, there are also the subject that focus on ASEAN studies. And why not? In school, in BIMSTEC, we provide or we put some information on BIMSTEC so that when they grow up, they can know that we are one of the rising regional cooperation. To make it clear and to make it more empirical, let me talk about the example. So this part, I would like to change our role a bit from not academia in the sense of academia or very so academician. We might change ourselves into a kind of the maybe educator, maybe facilitator for BIMSTEC. Before I'm going to that point, let me give a brief example what we have been doing in Ubon Ratchathani University, that the name that you and the logo of our university there. So when talking about Thailand, most people know about like Bangkok, Chiang Mai, Phuket, or Pattaya. But where is Ubon Ratchathani located? In the map, Ubon Ratchathani is the province in the northeast of Thailand, and we connected Laos, Cambodia, and not far from Vietnam. So we are the place that connecting BIMSTEC to the Mekong sub-region. And we're not waiting for the top-down policy that the government asks us to do things, but we do a kind of bottom-up policy from the border province. So we just established BIMSTEC coordinator as the new and recent initiative. And we also working with Thailand Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which now Thailand chair the BIMSTEC at the current chair. And the government of Thailand announced the pro-BIMSTEC as the key policy. So pro-BIMSTEC come from P, prosperous BIMSTEC country, R from resilient BIMSTEC, and O is very important because it's open BIMSTEC that open opportunities for young generation to join us to learn about BIMSTEC. So next that I'm going to show you what we have been done and what's our going plan. So what we have done, we organize the BIMSTEC seminar, but not for academia, but we organize a BIMSTEC seminar for students in the university, in schools, and also for teachers. We organize a BIMSTEC day with cultural performance and exhibition on BIMSTEC. How to do this? There is no need to invite, delegate from like international delegate, but we already have our students that come from Myanmar, that come from Bhutan, that come from Sri Lanka in our university. So we gather these students, and these faculty member and organize the cultural performance. So it's how to say, it's cheaper in the sense that we don't have to pay like international airfares, but we can build the community of BIMSTEC within the institution. We also having a BIMSTEC project pitching for high school students. I can guarantee that earlier, I think high school students, there is no, how to say, like no imagine what's BIMSTEC. But when we have the BIMSTEC project pitching, ask them to do a project. They have to do some reports, do some research. They have to find some information to do the project competition. It's kind of the different way so that students can learn more about BIMSTEC. And also we organized a BIMSTEC quiz competition last year. And it's very, it's fortunate that our student who won the quiz, BIMSTEC quiz competition nominated as the national representative to be a part of BIMSTEC quiz competition that I think last February in Bhutan, the capital city. There also the BIMSTEC quiz competition, and students from 7 countries coming to join, and Sri Lankan student won the first prize for that. The thing is that, so what happened in BIMSTEC quiz competition? It's good thing that the school teacher, when they know that their student get the chance to be a part of this competition, the school director asks all teachers from all departments to help students to prepare for that. And when the student expect to departing to Bhutan, the school director brought the student to meet the governor of the province. So the governor of the province has an idea on what is BIMSTEC, so that what we have done for BIMSTEC, so that high school students can know more about BIMSTEC. And what our plan, what going plan that we are currently doing right now, we are doing some e-learning and e-books on BIMSTEC for Thai. It's in Thai. It's in our language, in Thai. So the e-learning and e-books is not something that it's very well researched, but we try to provide just only the basic information, what about BIMSTEC, so that they have the big picture of BIMSTEC and the area of cooperation. The point is that when we finish this, we're going to circulate nationwide, so school students can join the e-learning and they can get certificate from Ministry of the Foreign Affairs. And the next project that we try to do BIMSTEC network of social science teachers in Thailand. Why I focus on social science teachers? Because when the social science teacher, they know about BIMSTEC, they're going back to their school and they introduce the idea of BIMSTEC to students. That's what we're going to do in the nearly future. So to this point, BIMSTEC has to invest with young generation, both in school and university, through some maybe exchange program. BIMSTEC has to provide platform of learning on BIMSTEC to explain the importance and opportunity of BIMSTEC to the wider mass. And also, BIMSTEC has to focus on educational cooperation that help underlie the 7th sector of BIMSTEC cooperation, and as a rising regional cooperation, cultivating future leaders with educational is BIMSTEC worthy responsibility. Thank you so much.
Dr. Pianas, for very good views on educational cooperation. The new thing that you are doing is that you are giving lessons to some of the school students and college students about what is BIMSTEC and what role it can play, which in my opinion will go a long way in fostering the constructive role that BIMSTEC is supposed to be playing for educational cooperation. Thank you very much for this. Now, we got 10 minutes less in this session, but then we have almost finished our professional activity. and the session is open to question answers. I know we are standing in between lunch and you. We'll not like to stand for too long, but if there are some quick questions, we'll be happy to answer. Any of the panelists will be very pleased to do that. Education is one area where the cooperation everybody understands very well, and our presenters had put their ideas in a very clear manner. So I was not expecting any questions, let me tell you, because if you don't get any questions, that means the ideas have been very clear. The other possibility, if there are no questions, then also things are very clear. So it's over your mind. So either way, so if you have any questions, you're still welcome. Otherwise, we can invite you for lunch. Fine. Thank you so very much. I can understand your keenness for rushing to the lunch. So that's about it. Thank you so very much. I would take this opportunity to express gratitude to all our panelists for putting across their view in a very lucid and clear manner, and to Dr. Arindam Mukherjee for inviting us here, ISPC and our Ministry of External Affairs for taking a lead in organizing this wonderful program, and all the volunteers of Institute of Social and Cultural Studies for doing a great job. Dr. Arindam Mukherjee also needs a special clap for this. Thank you, please.
Thank you, panelists. May I please request an ISCS official to felicitate our chair with a memento? Requesting Professor Singh to felicitate the other speakers, please. Thank you, everyone. Now we will break for lunch. Just a